Hey everybody, it's Emily, the Crazy Worm Lady. I just wanted to come in for a quick midweek peek on our bin that had the jalapenos and now has a whole bunch of oranges. And I see some patches of mold. Worms feed off of that, so I'm not overly worried about it, but I'll be interested to see what type of action we have down here. So here's one of the orange pieces. And the worms are crawling right inside of it, which makes me think it's not bothering them. I know we have quite a few more down here, so. Guys, this has only been like 3 or 4 days. And check out the number of worms in this handful. It is insane. Absolutely insane in a good way. I'm hoping that I'm dispelling a few myths for people, because these worms are doing just splendidly, even with foods that people have said have killed off their bins. And I guess it's still early. I shouldn't, say anything just yet. And it looks like there's some mold on some of these as well. And like I said, the worms feed off of the mold, so that's fine. I'll probably just flip over those rags. But I'm going to bury these back up, and we will get a full update a little later in the week. Drop your comments below. Hey everybody, it's Emily, the Crazy Worm Lady. I am here with our Forbidden Foods bin to take a peek and see how our oranges are breaking down. There's a little bit of mold in this bin. Gonna keep an eye on that. I've never actually seen mold in my bins before. Here's one of our orange skins here, and it appears to have some sort of mold on it as well. Oh, I feel a worm ball coming. Guys, check that out. They are all through this. As I've been doing this experiment, I'm really wondering if it's not in fact some of these foods that kill off or a turn off to some worms. I honestly think it might just be people overfeeding. Because even being fed solely on jalapenos and now being solely fed on orange peels, these worms are fine. I just think perhaps if you aren't careful at how much you give your worms, that it could possibly turn the bin acidic and sour, and that would actually be what is harmful to the worms. But this is super exciting for me. I mean, I'm pretty easy to excite with worms. I love it, but I had been thinking about doing this for so long, and I'm really happy I decided to do it. I was a little concerned. I didn't want to hurt my worms, but they seem to be having quite the opposite reaction. They're doing splendidly. So I'm going to bury all of this back up here. We'll peek over where our jalapenos were, and I am actually considering adding a little bit more food over here. So let me get all this buried back up, and we will see what we want to do. Okay, so here's where we had the jalapenos. Looks like I missed one of my orange shells here a few weeks ago. And it still looks like there's some worms in the area, but I definitely think the majority have moved on. But you can see, I think, even some skins here that are still breaking down. I mean, they just gutted those completely. So I definitely think it will be safe to add a little bit of food over here. So I'm going to dig a trench up here. And I think we're going to add some onions. And onions definitely can stink up your bins. They tend to take longer to break down in my experience, but I've never fed like a feeding exclusively of onions. So I'm going to make sure I bury them as deep as possible so that we don't have a horrific smell in here. Right now there's a lovely pine sol smell coming from this bin from the oranges, but got a bag here of some onion skins. So I'm going to open this up and we'll put a handful in here. Phew. Yeah, guys, even with the skins having been frozen, they stink terrible. I am hoping that this is not a huge mistake. There's a pretty decent number here of skins. Definitely a similar size feeding to what I would normally feed my worms. And I'm just gonna bury the crap out of this. And we will give them a week and see what happens. But I'm excited to see that the oranges are doing as well as they are. And now we will see what happens with the onion bin. And Lilia Kogan, who I've mentioned before, she's running an experiment right now strictly using onions as feed. So if you want to check that out, I will link that video below.